Let's talk today about why limerence can actually be a turning point. And maybe not just limerence, but any kind of emotionally intense experience, any kind of emotional collapse of some sort, any fall from what we would consider, I guess, psychological wellness or evenness. Because when something knocks you off balance so hard that you have to stop and take a hard look at yourself, I mean, really look at yourself, that's rare. It doesn't happen that often in a life. And I want to say this clearly, especially if you're in it right now. Limerence, in a way, gives you a chance to finally learn how to focus on yourself. That's part of the lesson, because focusing on the person you were limerent over will only take you so far. You can analyze the attraction for this person. You can decode the dynamics that got you there in the first place. You can understand the patterns and the projections and your own psychological triggers. But the real transformation, the real emotional breakthrough happens when you turn your attention away from the person and you place it back on you. Who are you when you're not chasing someone else for love or for romantic connection? What do you want when you're not stuck in a cycle of longing for another person? What parts of you want to be seen by you? That's where the real growth lives. And yes, sometimes it starts right in the middle of a big mess, because these moments, these breakdowns and breakthroughs are often the only time we truly stop and reflect. And they really don't come around that often. Hi, I'm Madalena, and this is You Reclaimed. Around here, we talk a lot about the way our childhood trauma and our nervous system dysregulation, how these things shape the relationships we're having now in our adult lives, how they shape our emotions, our identity. And we do this because we want to take control and live our lives on our own terms. Stick around, because today we're talking about what's waiting on the other side of limerence, and how the emotional crash that brought you to your knees in the first place might actually be the moment that now brings you closer to yourself. Wait, did you subscribe yet? I have a lot more to share, and I'd love to have you here for it. It really helps my channel grow, and I appreciate it so much. In that space, the space where everything kind of collapses in on itself, you can do so much in that space. You can reevaluate who you are, what you want, what you value in your own life, what your priorities are, and where you're going forward, right? And not just romantically, though that's usually what brings us to this place. It can help us reevaluate every facet of our lives, because most of us are constantly wrapped up in so much doing, in starting careers, in changing diapers, in meeting deadlines, in booking vacations, navigating marriages, breakups, health problems, family stress. There is an absolutely endless line of things in our lives that we're constantly just trying to get through. You don't often get stuck with yourself long enough to really look at yourself, not just in passing, but with real attention. And if you're lucky and you're kind, maybe even with compassion. And when you look with that much depth, you're going to see things clearly, maybe for the first time even, because these moments, these emotional breakthroughs, they're often the only times we truly stop and reflect. And thank goodness we do. Because if we didn't stop to look at ourselves, we'd end up like some of the people we try to date, the kind of emotionally unavailable people that we're always talking about on this channel. The people who never really reflect on what went wrong in their last relationships. The people who don't want to ask questions of themselves, most importantly, right? Why did my last relationship fall apart? And what did it have to do with me? Why did I cheat? Why did I shut down? Why did I treat someone I cared about badly? Instead, they just move on, and they move on to the next person and to the next relationship, the next distraction. And yeah, there's probably still pain there, and there's going to be pain in the future, even for people who don't reflect, because all of us live with some degree of pain, even when we're the ones who make the mess, right, in the first place. But You have so many ways to drown that pain. You can drown your self-reflection in alcohol, in attention from other people, in dating apps, in achievement, in video games, in anything really. Avoiding growth is so easy if you're looking to do that. Just to be clear, I'm not saying being a gamer means that you're not self-reflective. I'm saying that there are so many ways that we can use to avoid looking inward, whether it's gaming or addiction or overworking. And when you do that, when you get distracted in all of these different things, you don't grow. You don't carry the lesson from one experience to the next. You just repeat the same story and you put a new face on it. That's why, as awful as it is, thank goodness for these rough patches in life, the patches that stop us in our tracks and they make us face ourselves for real, because those are the moments that grow you, that propel you forward exponentially. These tend to be moments that split your life into before and afters, right? And you can look back on your life and trace those points. You know what I mean, right? Those moments when everything changes. The person you were before, that person is gone now, right? That's a different person. And yeah, it sucks that pain is the catalyst, but pain is also fuel. It's uncomfortable, but it is so powerful. Often we don't move unless there's pain. And pain will move you further and faster than any feel-good affirmation ever could. So if you have to experience pain, you might as well use it. And this is the part that sucks, right? Letting go of that fantasy of the version of the person that you were limerent over, that existed mostly in your mind for the most part, and realizing that who you thought they were and who they actually are not one and the same. This is the place where a lot of people get stuck, because they think that letting go of that fantasy means giving up on hope, or that it means admitting that the whole thing was not real in some way. But these things are real. Our feelings are real. The connection may have been real, but the fantasy, the idealization of this person, the version of the story of what could have been, that's the part that wasn't rooted in reality. And as long as you're still choosing to live inside of that imagined version of love, then you don't make space for real, grounded love here and now. Real love happens in the present, and it is reciprocal and grounded, and it's built in moments of mutual care between two people, not a one-sided longing. We talk about one-sided longing a lot when we talk about limerence, because so much of what limerence is trying to find ways to make things that are not working work. And so you're constantly lost in a loop of what this thing could have been. Then you're not available for what could be with someone new, someone who's actually here and willing and able. And the wild part is that longing you feel, it's not even about the person. It's about a version of you that comes alive in the presence of certain people. And that's normal. Certain people trigger us to come alive. That's what limerence does. It wakes up something in us, a need, a hunger, a hope, right? All the things we talked about in our other videos. And then it sends us chasing after a person who sparked it. But the transformation doesn't happen by running after this person. This person you can let go. The transformation happens afterwards, when you realize that aliveness in you, your passion, that is yours and yours alone. And you can trigger that in yourself by yourself. You don't actually need this other person. You are the one who felt the intensity. You're the one who's capable of feeling the depth, right? Of desiring that much, of loving that hard. That comes from you, and it lives inside of you. So what if, instead of turning all that energy outward toward them, you turn it inward? What if you use that same intensity to nurture yourself, to go deeper into your own values, into your own voice, into your own vision of what love really means, into your own ideas about what you want in life for yourself? Because when you let go of this other person, You tend to find yourself, and that's the whole point. And when you do start to let go, to really let go, something else becomes clear. Real growth doesn't mean that you feel better right away, unfortunately. It means that you understand yourself a little bit better. It means that you can stop chasing people who are not choosing you, stop needing closure from someone who can't give it to you, stop waiting to move on until you can forgive someone for something. You stop hoping that other people determine how you feel, right? You stop trying to forgive yourself even, because when you just focus on yourself and your own path ahead, that's the magic. It's quiet and it's unglamorous a lot of the time, especially after moments of pain, but it's real. So you have two choices when something wrecks you emotionally. You can run from it and numb it and try to forget about it, or you can use it. You can let it become a turning point. The moment that you finally see yourself clearly, and then you use that to choose different things for yourself in the future. If being limerent has helped you to see your path ahead a little bit more clearly, let me know in the comments. I want to hear your story. And if you enjoy this kind of content and you want more of it, then hit like, consider subscribing so we can keep going together. And if there are any particular kinds of videos that would help you work through all this stuff, let me know. I'm always listening. Until next time.